Hey Star Wars fans, Budget Jedi here, and today I'm actually trying something different. I'm attempting to make my own Emperor's chair. This is one of my favorite Black Series figures to come out this year, the 6-inch Black Series Emperor from Hasbro. I feel like the Emperor's not complete without his chair, so I wanted to attempt to make it. I'm not really sure how this is going to work out. If you guys are seeing this video, it probably means that I have come up with something. So I bought myself some insulation foam here from Home Depot. I've worked with this before for walls and stuff, but I think it'll make a good material for the chair itself, or the base of it. This is 2 by 2 feet for $5.48 at Home Depot, and I think I'm going to use a couple of hangers, the wires from the hangers, just to help support the weird shapes that this thing will have. And I think I will maybe try to sculpt or put in a little spackling in there. I think that will help. Again, I'm not sure how this is all going to work out later. Of course, I'll need some sand. And the last element that I just found that made me decide to try this out is this piece right here. This is a picture frame from Ikea called Tollsby. I was at Ikea the other day and I saw this for 99 cents. They were selling this for $1 each, and it has this base, and I'm not sure what else I could use for the base, but you can see here it makes for a nice stable base for the chair that's somewhat movie accurate, but not really. So let's get started. So the first thing I did here was grab a piece of paper and sort of measured out what I think will be the size of the width of the chair, because I'm going to make 3 pieces of foam cut. And so I think that I'm going to cut pretty much 3 different pieces of foam here, and it's going to look like this, something like this. So this is sort of the cross-sectional view of it. The foam itself is pretty easy to cut, and I measured this as 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and take some pieces of foam and see how that works out. I'm just doing this by approximation. This is by no means accurate to the movie. Alright, so I'm going to start out with what he's going to sit on, and these 2 pieces on the side here are supposed to be the arms. And what I'm going to do first is cut or mark the angle at which they're going to come in, and with same thing with the other arm. And again, I'm doing this all by approximation. I'm not using any tools to measure it, and just gonna quickly slice this thing off. Everyone out there that's doing this, be sure you're careful with your fingers. Don't get too close to the knife, of course. And I believe you can just kind of pry it off like this. I don't care so much about the finish. Doesn't need to look nice because I'm gonna end up gluing it on the inside. See, like this arm's gonna go right here, and the other arm's gonna go right there. So we're gonna start with both of the armrests, and I'm just using my trusty glue gun here. And glue gun with the foam actually dries up fairly quickly. Pretty much solidifies right away, which is nice. So in a few seconds you pretty much have a set item. And the next thing I'm doing here is basically measuring out the back side, and I'm just doing this by approximation. I think it's about that big. I'm gonna just draw a line on the foam right here, like so, and across, and simply just cut it right into it. Okay, just gonna show you guys here that you can pretty much fit it right there. And I believe there's another section on top of the back rest, and I'm just simply using a leftover piece to glue it on, which is basically just an extension of the seat. The shape I'm taking is just the best way I can think of it. Not sure how accurate it really is, but you know, I'm just basically trying to make it look like somewhat like the real thing. Here's another extension that goes above the Emperor's head, which is basically a random piece of foam that I'm gluing on top of it. You can see the foam is already hardened and ready to go. You can see I've got this crude shape made up. It's absolutely not accurate, but you know, he fits in here, and I think what I'm going to do is try to tackle the shapes. There's a couple of rounded or angled shapes here that joins these two arms, and I'm going to actually make the frame for it using some pieces of wire. I got this from a hanger, and so I'm going to cut several pieces and join them using a glue gun. Let's see how that works out. Hopefully I don't ruin it. Quick update, these wire hangers are a little bit too tough to work with. I found these a little bit thinner wire hangers to work with. I'm starting with two small sections that I'm going to bend in a rounded fashion. Alright guys, let me show you what I have got done so far. As you can see, I've used a glue gun to stick these guides on the Emperor's chair. The reason is because I want to fill that in with spackling, and these wires will help me keep the shape, the weird shape that the Emperor's chair has, and hopefully it will work. I'm not sure yet. I'm actually very nervous at this point. Okay, the idea is to fill all these parts with spackling, and I don't really have any professional tools, so I've got a plastic knife here that I will use to fill this in, and I'm going to use spackling here, so wish me luck guys. So at this point, I only care about just pushing all this material, spackling material, in there, and I am hoping that my wires will hold up, and they seem to be. And I wish I had a better tool. I just know I know somebody's gonna ask where I got this knife. I don't know. I don't remember. It's probably from a one of those grocery stores with dining areas like Whole Foods Market. But let me remind you, there must be tons of good sculpting tools out there. Feel free to put that in the comments so other people can go to it. I'm not a sculptor, and I just didn't want to get any tools for this. But I'm not too worried about the shape of the spackling. If there's extra material with, my experience with spackling is if there's any extras, you can always either scrape it off or sand it off later after it dries. So right now I just wanted to get the shape down, and it seems to be working pretty well. Just gonna keep on adding material where I think it's lacking, and if there's extras, like I said, I'm hoping to sand it off later. But I'm pretty much done with this side, And here's a quick look around. What do you guys think? And so for the other side, I'm pretty much doing exactly the same thing that I did on the first side. I'm getting more comfortable in wielding this this knife, and I'm doing it a little different now. I'm pushing extra material in the chair and then scraping it off, and I think it's not coming out as smooth as I want it to be, but I think at least the shape is easier to achieve. Progress update. I have waited for all the spackling to dry out. As you can see, it's very rough. It's all over the place, but it's starting to take a little bit of shape, and so the next thing I'm going to do here is just take some fine grit sand and smooth out everything. Hopefully it comes out pretty good. So I've spent a good amount of time sanding this chair, and this is what it looks like, just to give you guys a 360 look. It's absolutely not perfect. It's got little bits and pieces of imperfections here and there, but overall I think I have the shape pretty good, and I'm going to go ahead and try to paint it now. So I'm mixing some water and acrylic paint here. I am just using the acrylic paints that I got from Walmart. I believe this was like $1.25 per huge bottle, and I'm just going to start with at least the first couple of coats. Alright, so I think I covered most of it, and I might just leave this alone for a while to let it dry. It's probably going to look a little bit different when it's all dried up. So while this is drying, I am thinking about how to make the cushions. The Emperor's chair has cushions in there on the back as well as on the seat. I'm thinking about using these straws. I'm going to cut the straws and color them in a fan fashion, like coming out like that on the back, and on the bottom here I'm just going to lay it down like so. Here's a quick look at the straws that I've glued in place on the seat. Here's a bunch of straws that I've glued together. I'm going to fit it right here on the back using my glue gun later on, and gonna look like that. Alright guys, here are the final elements for the chair. As you can see, I've pretty much finished painting it. Straws here, and as you know, I used needles for this little piece of ornament here. And then here is nothing but just toothpicks that I've cut up and painted silver. And over here for the control panels on the inside, I'm using basically the heads of these tie downs. I just cut them up and put it right here next to each other and painted it red. You know, good enough. And for the control panel, the main control panel that's out here, I'm actually using a piece of Lego that I took here, a black piece of Lego, I put some paint on it, and I will glue it right here. That should be good enough. And last but not least, I've got this Ikea frame, bottom of it, that I spray painted black, and I will simply glue that right here. Here it is, my homemade 6-inch Emperor's chair, guys. Homemade and handmade. I think this is the only I think this is the second item only that I've ever built from scratch. Usually I'd see something and I would think, oh, I can use that to make a certain element from a movie. But this time, I really actually set out to make this thing, and this is what came out. Now, any Star Wars expert can see that, you know, there's a lot of inaccuracies here. Let's see, from the control panels, you know, I used a piece of Lego, and here, this control here on the side, which is just basically zip ties. And also the front part, as you can see, you know, it should have a groove on here. This is definitely just a similar, maybe, you know, maybe it looks similar, but it's definitely not the one you see on the screen. The toothpicks worked all right though, and the back is the biggest part that was not accurate. You know, the real chair has a big hump, and I believe the back rests at an angle. And lastly, I think the bottom part, you know, the screen accurate chair has grooves on it, but since I'm using a picture frame stand, that's what I had to work with. This took about 2 weeks to finish, and on and off, but if I had to guess, it probably took about a total of 3 days work. So it came out all right. The part that took the most time were the arm rests that required a lot of spackling. In order to get these smooth, you would have to go back and add more spackle and keep sanding it down, and then add more spackling and keep sanding it down again. And as you can see, you know, after a while, I just kind of, you know, there's a couple of areas that I missed here, but I didn't really care anymore. I just wanted something that I can display. I didn't really finish the back either, because I figured, well, who's gonna see the back area? So that's what I had. A lot of approximation work here also, not accurate. You know, I didn't measure the thickness of what it should be compared to the Emperor. I just used a 1-inch thick foam because that's what I had in mind. But if you guys want to see some really good sculpting, you should see my friend's The Angel 2220. He had sculpted a screen accurate Emperor's chair, and I will put the link down below if you guys want to see it. Now in the future, maybe I'll come in and add these missing details, but for now, the main goal that I had was just to have a chair that I can display with my Emperor, because I felt that he needed a chair. Now, I do realize that Hasbro made it so that this figure has super articulated legs, but yet he has a plastic skirt, which is really unfortunate. I really wish they'd just given him a cloth skirt so he can sit down, but that's what we have to work with. Check out this setup here. He can sit down when he's just leaning back, so in that case my chair works a little bit, but that being said, there is a way to cut out that skirt and replace it with a cloth one. I have seen it done on Facebook, and there is an eBay seller out there that specializes in making skirts for them as well as hoods for characters. But I haven't gotten around to doing that and customize this figure, so that'll have to be another day. But I think since I have made the Emperor's chair, I will probably follow up with another attempt to complete this display. And if you guys want to guess what I will attempt next time, please feel free to put it down in the comment section. But anyway, as usual, thank you for sitting through my tinkering around and rambling as usual. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys on the next one.